All right. Well, thank you for joining us. I'm Arundel County Executive Stuart Pittman, and we are in District 2 tonight, home of Allison Pickard, Councilwoman, and a lot of great projects that are in this budget, particularly in the capital budget. So we're going around the county, and we're talking about what's in the FY22 budget. I want to thank the 4 council members who voted to support this budget. It's full of great stuff. And what I'm really pleased about with this budget is that we not only were able to invest in a lot of infrastructure, a lot of our workforce, a lot of our great people, a lot of our parks, a lot of our schools. We'll have people talk about some of that for this district. But we were able to do it in a very fiscally responsible way because we tightened our belt last year, knowing COVID was coming. The economy didn't do as badly as we projected, and we were able to actually put money into our rainy day fund. I think our budget this year sets us up for future years, probably better than any budget in memory in Anne Arundel County. So we were able to deliver on many fronts. But for this district, before Councilwoman Pickard gets up and explains to you that everything I'm about to tell her came to me from constituents, from budget town halls, from the residents of this district, I just want to run by a few of those in a few categories. In libraries, y'all did pretty well. Not only is the Glen Burnie Library going to be rebuilt, and that's 24-25, but the newest library added to the 5-year capital budget is the Millersville Library that also happens to be in your district. So that will be exciting. You've monopolized the library money from Anne Arundel County this budget cycle. Don't tell the other districts. Another issue that the councilwoman brought to me and that I heard about in the budget town halls was the roundabout. They call it the Oakwood Road roundabout, but it's at the intersection of Oakwood and Old Mill Boulevard. Weird intersection. You can explain that and why that's necessary for public safety, and that is now in the budget, and we will be seeing that coming. And then there's an interesting, we don't think necessarily of District 2 as a place for storm surge and flooding because we think of our coastal areas and the need for resilience, but our watershed protection and restoration program is doing a $4 million project to address some of the flooding at Clark Station Road and Burns Crossing Road, and that's probably something that's a long time coming and that residents have been talking about as well. So, and then in the parks front, there are great parks in this district, but I'm really pleased that the Glen Burnie Ice Rink is going to get a facelift, and then thanks to your idea of a splash pool at the North Aquatic Swim Center, that's going to be a $350,000 splash pool. I hope it's really nice. Sound good? I'm sure it will be. And then we're here at a fire station because we'll hear from our fire chief and also a leader of our firefighters, Joe Adenvola. But we invested a lot of money this year, the last year, and the year before in getting our fire department to the level that it needs to meet the national standards for the number of firefighters on the apparatus. So we got a Federal Safer grant. It's adding 50 firefighters, and we're in the process of that, and great people coming through our academy. Heard they were out in the heat today, sweating profusely, and as well as more apparatus. So we were able to do over $5 million this year in new fire apparatus that is basically beyond its useful life. So we feel great about that. And then there are new fire stations that are being built on a schedule in our capital budget. This one got a facelift just a couple of years ago as well. And we could go on and on, public safety, police department as well. But I feel very proud that we've not only we're bringing our fire department to the level, we're not there yet, of where it ought to be able to serve our growing population. And also a commitment that I had with the firefighters that we need to pay them at least what the region is paying. And so they've gotten some better contracts in the last couple of years as well because they deserve it and they need it. So I'm going to turn it over now to Councilwoman from District 2, Allison Pickard.
Good afternoon, and thank you, County Executive Pittman, for your partnership in this event, and to Chief Wolford for hosting us tonight. I'm happy to be a part of this budget discussion to share highlights of this year's budget. This budget is built on the work of the past 3 years to invest in all of our District 2 communities. This budget demonstrates our commitment to public safety by making sure our police and fire departments have what they need to do their jobs. We are here in front of Firehouse 26, as the county executive stated, one of the busiest firehouses in the county. And renovations and modernizations to this firehouse help firefighters save lives. In addition to improving our buildings, this budget provides the staffing support needed in our public safety agencies. Participating in Fire Ops 101 made it clear to me that we had to find a way to meet the request for an increase in the number of firefighters riding on each call. Last year, we made significant progress by adding 50 firefighters through the federal SAFER grant, and this allowed us to have 3 firefighters per call. In this year's budget, we've provided funding to cross-train 42 firefighters with paramedic training to better serve our residents. As the county executive also stated, we've raised starting pay for the police and fire departments while adding public safety personnel positions to keep pace with our growing county. Through the last 3 years, we've added more than 16 additional sworn police officers and added resources for our crisis intervention teams to support our emergency response capabilities in the county. One of my favorite topics. As you drive around our community, it's hard not to notice the large construction sites and the work underway. The new Old Mill High School is the 14th high school to be built in the county, along with 2 new schools, both Porterfield Elementary and Rippling Woods Elementary. These 3 schools are the first of 7 schools to be built as part of the Old Mill Complex Master Plan. These projects mean additional capacity in our schools, as well as replacement of outdated structures. Our community here in District 2 has waited our turn for over a decade, and it's exciting to see these projects finally underway. These projects would not be possible without the creation of the Permanent Public Improvement, or PPI, Reserve Fund that we created as part of the FY20 budget. We acted with bold intention to ensure investment in our schools, roadways, and public safety. Through our budgets, we build schools and we make sure we have excellent teachers to fill them. This year, we were also able to provide funding to the Board of Education to close the pay gap for our county teachers. The salaries of our county teachers have lagged behind our neighboring jurisdictions since the Great Recession. Over the last 3 budget cycles, we worked to raise starting pay for teachers, give step increases, and fund the back steps missed. We've also added 650 positions to the school system, which equates to more than a 10% increase in the workforce. These positions include special education and EAL, as well as psychologists, counselors, and social workers to address mental health needs of our students. Teacher positions have been added to address class size reduction and allow the school system to keep pace with enrollment growth. We are a growing county, and enrollment in our public schools reflect it. Finally, this budget reflects our continued commitment to improving our recreation and parks facilities across District 2. By providing funding and working with community partners such as the Local Development Council and the Board of Education, we lit up the fields at Marley Middle School and will add lights this fall to Corcoran Middle School. Rendazzo Park has been reimagined to include 2 multi-purpose Bermuda fields, and we installed a new lit multi-purpose field at Severn Danza Park. And we are finalizing the renovation of a skate park at Sawmill Creek. This project began with an email from a 10th grader at Old Mill High School named Lance Collier. We got together, we met out there at Sawmill Creek Park. He presented his idea, and we connected the skateboard users with the Department of Rec and Parks, and we have almost finalized that renovation. It's a pretty cool project, and I get kind of jazzed talking about it. Whether it's advocating for public safety resources, funding our schools, or improvements to our parks, I've worked closely with our communities to identify issues that matter to them. We've worked together to open communication and see improvements to our neighborhoods. The budget work that the County Council and the County Executive do is how we represent our values. I look forward to to continuing work to make sure county tax dollars are used in a positive way, not only in District 2, but across the county. Let's strengthen our community together. Thank you.
Come right on up.
Good evening. Again, my name is Tricia Wolford. I'm the fire chief for the Anne Arundel County Fire Department. On behalf of the women and men that work in this department, we obviously welcome everybody to Station 26, Glen Burnie. We have a lot of pride in our fire department, and with pride comes commitment to our residents and our visitors. And when we speak from a financial standpoint on what that means that we are grateful for the financial support that allows us to do the job we are meant to do. That means responding to your home in times of need on apparatus that is within a proper lifespan of less than 25 years. That means having paramedics to provide cardiac care when those are in need. And we'll be training 42 new individuals to become paramedics in this community. When we start the budget journey every year, we look at what are the needs of the community and how do we better assist and meet those needs. And this year it was about staffing and apparatus and advanced life support. So from a fire department standpoint, all of these requests are filled so that we can better serve anyone and everyone who visits and lives in Anne Arundel County. So we're very grateful for the support, and we will continue to take pride in our work and do the best job we can as a fire department and an EMS department responding in our community. Thank you.
And I'd like to introduce Rudy Brown, who's the chair of our Recreation Advisory Board. Not everybody knows that in addition to the great staff at Recreation and Parks, we have a citizens board that advises them and tells us what the needs are.
Good evening. Just some of the highlights of things that are included in the budget under the Rec and Parks line. $2 million has been set aside to increase access to our parks with disabilities. That's very important that everyone have full access to these facilities. If nothing else, the pandemic has shown us that the outdoor trails and parks and everything were very instrumental, not only in our physical well-being, but our mental well-being as well. So we're setting money aside for that. There's $8 million set aside for community parks that will be opening up in Odenton and Deal, which is in South County. We're also continuing the work to connect the bike trails, Broadneck to WB&A to the South Shore trails. $8 million has been set aside in the FYI budget for that. $2.5 million has been set aside for the Jug Bay Environmental Center, which again is down in the southern part of the county. If you haven't read recently, there's been water access projects. We just recently opened up the Solly Road boat launch about a month ago, which is going to give more access to the water that's greatly deserved. So there's approximately $1 million set aside for that going forward. And another thing that's going up, that I'm a 60-year resident of District 2, so this is kind of really important to me. They're opening up a Severn Intergenerational Center over there, I believe, behind Van Bocklin Elementary School. That is a place that's going to really help that area and the kids in that community to bond with teachers and things of that nature. So really looking forward to that. There's also funding set aside for the Brooklyn Park Teen Center up in the northern part of the county. Now, as Councilwoman Picard had just noted, there's money set aside for the Glen Burnie Ice Rink. That's going to get a nice facelift. She already touched on the lighting. We have the fields over there now at Marley Middle. Now we're going to not only light them, which they're already lit, but we're going to put irrigation in to help keep the grass alive. Corcoran Middle School, again, dear to my heart because I was a longtime coach and administrator for Arundel Youth Sports. We're getting lighting over there at those fields. The community desperately appreciates that. And right next door, as she said, the Splash Center and some other amenities that will be added in the construction over there next door to the Aquatic Center. Let's see, in Severn Dazzle, we had some fence repairs and things of that nature to upgrade the park there. North Glen Park, we're getting some pathway replacements. Randazzo Park, she's touched on that as well. So again, a lot of great things happening on the recreation and park side. Just stay tuned and continue to enjoy our parks and trail facilities. Thank you very much.
And then finally, is the schools. And we have Connor Curran with us, who's a member of our Youth Advisory Commission that advises my administration on how we should do things, how we should govern, and how we should spend our money. And just before we came over here, Councilwoman Pickard and I were over at the site, the construction site of the new Old Mill High School, and we have here a graduate of the Old Mill High School to talk about this budget as well. So come on up, Curran.
Thank you for the introduction. Good evening. My name is Connor Curran. I'm a recent graduate of Old Mill High School and will be attending Arundel Community College in the fall to become a Spanish educator. And I've been a longtime student advocate for ACPS students in various positions. In years past, District 2 has been promised new school buildings, all while our schools endure more and more challenges as developments are being built with a rising population. Our classrooms are filling up, and we need the support from the county to provide proper infrastructure for our world-class curricula that our school system offers. This budget is our opportunity to see an investment within our community schools. I'm proud of the work that Councilwoman Pickard and County Executive Pittman have done. Thank you. The new Permanent Public Improvements Fund was the key to our investments in our community schools. Construction is now underway for Rippling Woods Elementary, Quarterfield Elementary, and was mentioned Old Mill West High School, with additional funding for Old Mill High School and Old Mill Middle South. We know that the building does not make the school, but it's the community, staff, and students who do. These new buildings will help facilitate growth within our students. They will see that their local government supports them and wants to see them flourish. In addition to new school buildings in our district, teachers are getting the recognition that they deserve for their hard work. FY22 provides a 1% COLA increase for all 4 units of school system staff, in addition to paying back steps that teachers have been missing for far too long. This will help ACPS retain our amazing educators and hopefully be more competitive for hiring new teachers that can support our students and community. In conclusion, this administration is working to get us back on track. That's exactly what this budget is doing for District 2. Thank you.
Thank you. And we should not leave this fire station without here. We've heard a lot about infrastructure and machines and all of that, but it's the people who work here that matter. It's the people I know that in this district that love their first responders. And so we have with us Joe Adenavola, who is the president of the International Association of Firefighters, Local 1563. Come on up, Joe.
Thank you, County Exec Pittman, and thank you, Councilwoman Pickett, for having me here today. My name is Joe Divinola. I represent close to 900 firefighters and paramedics in Anne Arundel County who proudly serve you in these challenging times. Before County Executive Pittman and Councilwoman Pickett took office, we sat down with them and educated them on our staffing needs. We were at a terrible state in this county in the fire department. We were so depleted with staffing. They sat down, they listened to us, they attended our Fire Ops 101. They each got to put fire gear on and a breathing apparatus, pulled the charge line into a burning building, and they got to see what it was like to pull a line in with 1 person, 2 person, and 3 person. You know, before they took office, we had past fire administrations and county council members that neglected to add staffing with the growing population of Anne Arundel County. And you know, when they took office, they took a stand. You know, they've added firefighters, paramedics, apparatus. They listened to us, and without those added staffing numbers, there's no way we would have got through this pandemic. And I just want to thank them for taking the time and putting money in the budget for the fire department. You know, I can't thank them enough, and on behalf of our members, we thank you for all the support in the budget. Thank you.
Why don't we close it out with some final words from our councilwoman from District 2.
Well, I want to thank everybody who came out today. I see some of our community leaders and our skate park advocates in the audience here, and truly the work of this budget and the last 2 budgets before that have been hard work. And as I said in my prepared remarks, we acted with bold intention, And we are seeing the fruits of those budgets come right out of the ground with school buildings, and we're seeing our fire trucks with more firefighters on them. We have invested in this community, and I look forward to continuing that investment. So thank you again for coming out, and get engaged in your community, and don't be shy. Send me an email. Let's talk. Thanks.